Hello Year 4. This week we have been learning about addition and subtraction with 4-digit numbers. We're going to start off with some addition. Remember those key rules that we have spoken about this week. I have got a sum on the board and I'm going to discuss through how I need to work out the answer. So I've got 4,136 add 2,425. So to start off with, I always must make sure I start with the ones column. So 6 add 5 equals 11. So that means I must place a 1 in the ones column and I must carry a 1 underneath the tens column. My next column I'm going to add is the tens. 30 add 20 add 10 equals 60. 100 plus 400 equals 500. And finally, 4,000 plus 2,000 equals 6,000. You may want to label your columns at the top to ensure that you remember what the place value column is that you are dealing with at the moment of the addition. Here's another example of one. There may be some more carrying that we have to be wary of this time. 6 and 5 is 11, so I'm going to put 1 here. I'm going to carry my 10 underneath. 70 and 70 equals 140, and add on the 10 is 150. So I'm going to place 50 and carry my 100. My next column, 200 plus 300 plus 100 equals 600. And then finally, 6,000 plus 1,000 equals 7,000. So, looking at some subtraction. Same again, we start off with the ones column. Now if I have 7 and I take away 9, I can't do that. So I need to borrow a 10. So I'm going to borrow a 10 from the tens and put it in front of my ones. So instead of 7, I now have 17. 17 take away 9 is 8. Now my 6 tenths has changed to a 5, so it's now 50 take away 30, which is 20. 500 minus 400 is 100, and 7,000 minus 2,000 is 5,000. Looking at another example of one. As you can see, 3 minus 6 I cannot do. So I need to borrow the 10, borrow a 10. And this time, 13 minus 6 equals 7. Now I have 30 in my tens column, minus 70. I need to borrow from my hundreds column. So instead I have 130 minus 70, which is 60. 500 minus 400 is 100. And 8,000 minus 1,000 equals 7,000. In English, we've been having a think about creating an atmosphere in a piece of writing. At the beginning of the week, we had a look at these paint charts and trying to improve our language choice. We chose a word at the beginning, for example, hot, and then used a thesaurus to think about more effective words and words that matched what we wanted to write about. Being critical of our language choice and making sure that it would fit the piece of writing that we wanted to include into. Here's an example one. You may want to have a go at producing your own. Just to remind you, also really important when creating a piece of writing and creating that atmosphere is including fronted adverbials. A fronted adverbial is included at the beginning of the sentence and it tells us when, how often, where, how or how much something happens. And you'll see some examples of them in the picture to your right hand side. Remember to include a comma after a fronted adverbial. Finally, we've been looking at figurative language. I know that you all know what a simile and a metaphor is. Using a simile being using like or as to compare something or to describe something. A metaphor, saying something that it is when it necessarily isn't. Personification, something we've been working on recently. The fact of describing something, giving it human features when it is not human. And also using repetition to build up that tension and create that atmosphere. Why not have a go at creating your own sentences that include each of these examples of figurative language?